business news from the Capital Region. This is Washington Business Report with ABC7 national correspondent Rebecca Cooper.
Welcome to a fresh look at business and finance in the Washington region. Today, the greatest show on earth. We'll sit down with the head of Feld Entertainment to find out how a local boy turned the big top into a billion-dollar business. Plus, you can find a bank to finance your new business, and you won't have to look any further after today's show. But first, it was a busy week in business news. Here's a look at what you need to know. It was a worrisome week on Wall Street with a dizzying drop on Thursday, the Dow falling 231 points as investor concern grew as the economy slows in China and tensions grow in Ukraine. The Prime Minister appearing by President Obama's side as the showdown continues.
We fight for our freedom, we fight for our independence, we fight for our sovereignty, and we will never surrender.
Also this week, President Obama signed a memorandum directing the Labor Department to change rules on overtime pay. The president criticized rules meant to protect higher paid executives from qualifying for overtime, but now being used to prevent even lower wage workers from qualifying.
It doesn't matter if what you do is mostly physical work like stocking shelves. It doesn't matter if you're working 50 or 60 or 70 hours a week. Your employer doesn't have to pay you a single extra dime. And I think that's wrong.
It was a bipartisan group in the Senate this week that reached agreement on a proposal to extend long-term unemployment benefits for another 5 months, promising to pay for the $10 billion price tag primarily by boosting custom fees. There were encouraging numbers on the jobless front. First-time unemployment claims in February dipped by 9,000 to 315,000, marking a 3-month low. But it was a bad week for auto giant General Motors. Federal safety regulators revealed the company knew as far back as 2001 it had a deadly problem with an ignition switch and kept it under wraps. A total of 13 GM drivers died as a result, and the problem caused at least 31 crashes. That's not only a PR problem, but now, says the White House, a federal investigation.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has opened a formal investigation into whether GM shared the information they had about this issue as quickly as they should have.
And joining me now to talk about that rocky road on Wall Street this week and the outlook for our region is Bob Pincus, Vice Chairman of Eagle Bank. Bob, thanks for joining us. You're seen as someone in this region with your finger on the pulse of the economy. How do you view the outlook for the Washington area economy coming up in the rest of 2014?
Well, I got to contrast Washington versus the rocky road that was in the beginning of your show. Washington continues to be a more desirable place to live. We have job growth. We have population growth. We have housing continuing to grow. We're talking about in housing, both single family and multifamily. Retail's doing extremely well.
Are you convinced this area economy is diversified enough that even with defense spending cuts, we're going to be able to weather that storm?
Yes, I'm very convinced of that. I mean, we're no longer as dependent on defense and or the entire federal government. We're a diversified economy with a lot of opportunity. As a result, people are seeing that, and they're coming to Washington. And the population, as I said, is growing, and it's a lot of young professionals who want to be in a place where they can have a great quality of life together with a job opportunity.
Well, speaking of opportunity, community banking overall weathered the storm of the recession better than many of the big name banks did. But Eagle Bank has really made a name for itself with the phenomenal growth that you all are seeing. What's ahead for Eagle Bank in 2014? Are you all going to be able to sustain the kind of growth that you've been seeing?
Well, let's hope so. I mean, there's nothing that's changed other than it has become a more competitive environment. For a period of 4 or 5 years, from 2008 to 2012, our window of lending was open. We were a healthy bank, strong balance sheet. As a result, we were lending and stealing a lot of market share from the other banks. But that being said, today, the bigger banks are back in the market. They would like to steal some of that market share back from us. And it's up to us to create a value proposition for our customers and make them feel that we are a large community bank that's going to support their needs, whatever the economy will portend for us.
Spoken like a true business Hall of Famer, which you are, and stay with us because you set us up perfectly for the next segment. We're going to have you stick around for that. So coming up, Bob will still be on the set for a roundtable with our business mentor, Marissa Levin, teaching you why a community bank may be your best bet, and that's after the break.